You walk into a room, a coffee shop, a bookstore, a party. It doesn't matter where. What matters is she's there, and she is stunning. The kind of beautiful that makes the air feel different. The kind that makes you suddenly aware of your own posture, your own hands, the sound of your own voice. And in that moment, in that single electric second, something shifts inside you. Not in your chest, not in your heart, in your spine. You stand a little shorter. You smile a little wider. You become a little too agreeable, a little too eager, a little too available. You don't even realize it's happening, but she does. She notices it instantly, not because she's arrogant, not because she's cruel, but because she has seen this exact transformation 1,000 times before. She's watched confident men dissolve into nervous flattery the moment they look at her face. And every single time, she loses interest. Not because you weren't attractive, not because you weren't good enough, but because you told her, without saying a single word, that you don't believe you are. This is the pedestal error. And today, we're going to take it apart piece by piece. Let's get something straight before we go any further. This is not about manipulation. This is not about pretending to be cold or playing games. This is about understanding a fundamental truth of human psychology, one that most men never learn because no one ever teaches them. When a man encounters a woman he finds exceptionally attractive, his behavior often changes on an almost involuntary level. His voice softens. His opinions become flexible. He laughs at things that aren't funny. He agrees with statements he would normally challenge. He offers compliments that feel rehearsed, excessive, or premature. He positions his body to face her entirely, as if she were the sun, and he has decided to become a satellite. Now, here's what most men don't understand. She doesn't experience any of this as flattering. She experiences it as information. Specifically, she processes this behavioral shift through a very simple unconscious filter. This person just changed who they are because of how I look. And that tells her 3 things simultaneously. First, he is more invested in her appearance than in who she actually is. Second, he does not behave this way normally, which means he is performing, which means he is not trustworthy in this moment. And third, perhaps most importantly, he has ranked himself below her before a single real interaction has occurred. That third one is the killer. Because attraction, real, visceral, biological attraction, does not flow downhill. It flows across. It flows between equals. The moment a man positions himself beneath a woman psychologically, he has stepped out of the space where attraction lives. She doesn't decide this consciously. She doesn't sit there thinking, well, his status is now lower than mine, so I shall withdraw my interest. It's far more instinctive than that. It's the same instinct that makes you trust someone with calm body language more than someone who is fidgeting. It's the same instinct that makes a steady voice more compelling than a shaky one. She simply feels, in a way she might not even be able to articulate, that something is off, that this man is not standing on solid ground. To truly understand the pedestal error, you have to understand something about the daily reality of a very attractive woman. And this is where most men get it completely wrong, because they project their own experience onto hers. Most men rarely receive unsolicited compliments about their appearance. When they do, it feels significant. It feels special. So they assume that when they give a beautiful woman a compliment, she will experience that same feeling of significance. She won't. And it's not because she's ungrateful or spoiled. It's because of pure math. If a woman has been exceptionally attractive since her late teens, she has heard, "You're beautiful," "You're gorgeous," "You're stunning," literally thousands of times. From strangers, from co-workers, from men in cars, from men in her DMs, from men at bars, from men at funerals. The words have been stripped of meaning through sheer repetition. So when you walk up to her and the first thing you communicate, whether through words or through your suddenly altered behavior, is that her beauty has overwhelmed you, you haven't told her anything new. You've told her something she already knows. And more importantly, You've told her something about you, that you are just like everyone else. And this is critical, because the one thing a beautiful woman almost never encounters is a man who is genuinely unshaken by her appearance. Not rude, not dismissive, not pretending not to notice, just grounded.
A man who sees her, appreciates her beauty the way one appreciates good weather. It's nice, it's noted, and then moves forward with his own personality, his own opinions, his own energy fully intact. That man is rare. That man is interesting. That man creates a psychological gap, a space of curiosity, because he is not doing what everyone else does. And curiosity, in female psychology, is one of the most powerful precursors to attraction. Let me say that again because it matters. Curiosity precedes attraction. She doesn't need to be impressed first. She needs to be intrigued first. And you cannot intrigue someone by doing exactly what they expect. Now let's go deeper, because the pedestal error isn't just a social mistake. It has roots in evolutionary psychology, and understanding those roots will change the way you see this dynamic forever. In the framework of mate selection, across virtually every culture ever studied, women are wired to assess men along several key dimensions. Physical appearance is one, yes, but it is rarely the dominant one. The dimensions that carry the most weight are competence, emotional stability, social confidence, and what researchers broadly call resource potential, which is not just money, but the ability to navigate the world effectively. Now, when a man pedestalizes a woman, when he instantly defers to her, when he reshapes his personality to please her, when he signals through every available channel that he considers her above him, he is actively undermining himself on every single one of those dimensions. He is demonstrating low emotional stability, because a stable man doesn't become destabilized by a pretty face. He is demonstrating low social confidence, because a confident man doesn't abandon his frame the moment someone attractive enters it. He is demonstrating low competence in social dynamics, because a competent man understands that excessive flattery reads as desperation, not generosity. And here is the paradox that drives men insane. He is doing all of this because he is attracted to her. He is pedestalizing her because he wants her. His intentions are positive. His feelings are genuine, but the execution communicates the exact opposite of what attracts her. It's like trying to start a fire by pouring water on it, not because you're stupid, but because no one ever told you that water doesn't work. Female attraction is not activated by worship. It is activated by the presence of a man who has a strong sense of self that doesn't collapse under the weight of beauty. This isn't cruelty. It's not vanity. It's a deeply embedded screening mechanism. She is subconsciously asking, if this man falls apart just because I'm pretty, what happens when life gets actually difficult? What happens under real pressure? The pedestal is not a compliment. It's a failed test. Let's talk about flattery specifically, because this is where the pedestal error becomes most visible and most destructive. There is a difference between a compliment and flattery. A compliment is specific, earned, and delivered from a place of confidence. Flattery is excessive, premature, and delivered from a place of need. When a man tells a woman he just met that she is the most beautiful woman he's ever seen, that's not a compliment. That's a surrender. He hasn't earned the right to make that claim. He doesn't know her. He's not responding to who she is. He's responding to how she looks, and she knows it. But here's where the psychology gets really interesting. Flattery doesn't just fail to create attraction, it actively generates a subtle form of contempt. And this is not because women are heartless. It's because of a well-documented psychological principle. We do not respect what is given to us too freely. Think about it from your own experience. If someone you just met started telling you that you were the most impressive, incredible, remarkable person they'd ever encountered, before knowing anything real about you, you wouldn't feel flattered. You'd feel suspicious. You'd feel uncomfortable. You'd wonder what they wanted from you. And on some level,
You'd lose respect for their judgment, because how can their opinion mean anything if they hand it out to strangers? This is exactly what happens when you shower a beautiful woman with premature praise. You devalue your own opinion by giving it away before it was earned. And if your opinion is cheap, then your admiration is cheap. And if your admiration is cheap, you are cheap in her psychological economy. The men who hold their validation, not withhold it, but simply don't throw it around carelessly, are the men whose validation eventually means something. When that man finally says, weeks later, "You know, you really are beautiful," she feels it in her chest. Because it was earned. Because it came from a man who doesn't say that to just anyone. Because it came from a man who was paying attention to more than her face. So, if pedestalizing doesn't work, if flattery backfires, if worship kills attraction, then what does she actually respond to? The answer is simpler than you think, and it has nothing to do with being rude, aloof, or playing hard to get. Those are just the opposite extreme of the same insecurity. What she responds to is authenticity under pressure. The pressure, in this case, is her beauty. Her beauty is the test, and the response she's looking for is not indifference, it's composure. She wants to feel that you see her, that you appreciate her, but that her appearance has not rearranged your internal world. She wants to interact with the man you were before she walked into the room. That man, the one who had opinions, who had humor, who had direction, who wasn't scanning for her approval, that is the man she might be attracted to. She doesn't want to be ignored. She doesn't want to be negged. She doesn't want to be treated coldly. She wants to be treated like a human being by a man who is also a complete human being. Not like a goddess by a man who has just volunteered to be a worshiper. And there is a profound irony here. The man who pedestalizes a woman thinks he is showing her how special she is. But what he is actually showing her is that he has no identity outside of her attention. He is reflecting her beauty back at her like a mirror, and she doesn't need another mirror. She has plenty of those. What she needs, what she craves, is a window into someone else's world, someone interesting, someone grounded, someone with a life rich enough that her beauty, while appreciated, is not the most important thing in his universe. This is what women mean when they say they want a man who is confident. They don't mean arrogant. They don't mean loud. They mean a man whose sense of self is not for sale, not even for beauty. A man who knows what he brings to the table and doesn't flinch just because the person sitting across from him happens to be gorgeous. So how do you fix this? How do you interact with a woman you find wildly attractive without falling into the pedestal error? The answer is internal before it is external. You don't fix this by memorizing pickup lines. You don't fix this by practicing alpha body language in the mirror. You fix this by genuinely, deeply, sincerely believing that you have value, independent of her reaction to you. This isn't a technique. It's a truth you either build or you don't. When you meet a beautiful woman, remind yourself of a simple fact. You don't know her yet. She might be extraordinary. She might be boring. She might be kind. She might be insufferable. Her face tells you nothing about whether the two of you would actually enjoy spending time together. Her beauty is data point number 1 out of 1,000, and you don't make conclusions from a single data point. Approach her the way you would approach anyone who caught your attention, with openness, with genuine curiosity, with your personality fully intact. Ask her real questions. Listen to her answers. Be willing to disagree with her. Be willing to be amused by her. Be willing to walk away if the conversation doesn't interest you. And this is the part that changes everything. Be willing to walk away. Not as a tactic, not as a power move, but because you genuinely understand that your time and energy have value, and that beauty alone is not a sufficient reason to invest them. When she senses that, you are choosing to be there, not because you're hypnotized, but because you're genuinely interested in the conversation, that's when the dynamic shifts. That's when she leans in. That's when she starts wondering about you.
That's when attraction has room to breathe.
You cannot negotiate attraction. You cannot buy it with compliments. You cannot earn it through submission. You can only create the conditions for it. And those conditions require two people standing on level ground, looking at each other with mutual curiosity. The pedestal makes that impossible. It puts her above and you below. And from up there, she can see you clearly, but she cannot reach you. And she cannot want what she cannot respect. So the next time you see a woman who takes your breath away, let her take your breath. Feel it. Appreciate it. Beauty is one of the great gifts of being alive. But then, take your breath back. Stand up straight, not for her, for you. Because the man she might fall for, the man any woman might fall for, is not the one on his knees offering praise she didn't ask for. It's the one still standing, the one who walked in with a life and didn't drop it at the door. Don't put her
On a pedestal. Stand next to her. That's where the magic is.